everyone, we are all anxiously awaiting for the Lakers to make a deal for Russell Westbrook, right? Russ's fit is really questionable, and there's a lot of concerns that if he stays on the team this year, then they're kind of just punting the season. How much will Darvin Ham be able to make it work? And the most likely scenario for a trade are the Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz are imploding their team. They traded Donovan Mitchell, and now they have all these vets that would be great on the Lakers that the Lakers could acquire. Utah's going in a completely different direction. They want to tank. They want to grow with their new young players and kind of jumpstart this rebuild. Danny Ainge wants more picks. He is collecting quite a treasure trove currently, and the 27 and 29 picks from the Lakers are sought to be very obtainable for the right deal, the right situation, but also very desirable because many believe that once the Lakers get past this LeBron era, that's it. They're going to be struggling for several seasons at least, and that 27 pick especially could be a very good pick. But up until this point, we haven't heard nothing. There were some murmurs that a deal was being discussed. That is still being relayed, that the Lakers and the Jazz are working on a deal, that they are having discussions, they're having conversations. But where is the deal? What is going on? When is this deal going to happen? How long is it going to take? You'd imagine the Lakers going to training camp with Russ. That's it. They're going to keep him the season. And the Jazz, they have to move off of players to cut their roster down to 15. So you do one swoop with the Lakers and it's done and over with. Everyone's happy, win-win. Or do you try to go move these guys to other teams and try to work it out that way? It's a very complicated situation for either side, and it's which team is going to blink first. Well, we got a report from Jazz Notes. They are the ones that we covered the other day on this channel. They were the ones that leaked the Donovan Mitchell trade before it happened, the Rudy Gobert trade. They've been very credible when it comes to the information that they're putting out there and their inside sources and stuff like that. They were also the ones to first release the information that a trade was even being discussed. They were the very first ones to do that. And then you saw Tony from The Athletic and stuff like that basically respond saying yes, this is correct information. So they are credible sources for the Jazz. This is a Jazz source. And they said, sources, the holdup in talks around Russell Westbrook to Utah trade is strictly about Jarred Vanderbilt. The Lakers want him and the Jazz want to keep him. Teams are remaining in contact, trying to work out a deal, and this happened an hour ago. Now, this is something we have talked about heavily. I don't believe for a second the Utah Jazz are going to want or very likely going to move off of Vanderbilt at all. I think that Vanderbilt was the prize in the deal for Rudy Gobert, and they want to keep him and have him as that young player that's got the size, the athleticism, the defense. He's a very solid player. He needs to work on his shooting and stuff, but he's young, he's raw, he's only going to get better, he's only going to improve, and was a huge factor for that Minnesota Timberwolves team. And so the idea is he's going to be great for this Jazz team going forward. But of course, the Lakers are if we're going to give up picks, we need players and pieces that are going to compensate for those picks. We don't want Mike Conley, Bogdanovich, and Jordan Clarkson for these picks. We either want really good young players that can help us now and the future, or we want a star. So if you want picks, but the good thing that was said in that is that the compensation for picks, there was no mention about that because that's been the big question. So previously, the Jazz Note said that the players' side, and even Tony from The Athletic said the players' side, for the most part, has been figured out. That the Jazz are willing to part with Beasley, Bogdanovich, and Conley. Now, it's being reported that they want Vanderbilt, which was part of the talk. They could give up a win in Gabriel and then get Vanderbilt. And then you have this swap, and then the Lakers give up a pick or two picks or whatever they agreed to. But there was never a report about the picks, how many picks are going to work out. They were just saying that the players' side has been pretty much figured out. Both sides know what they're going to get with the players, but they're just working on the draft compensation. Now it looks like they've figured everything out. They're just fighting over Vanderbilt. And look, if I'm the Lakers, I'm doing everything I can to get Vanderbilt in this deal. Especially if you have to take on Conley. I'd be look, we're taking on Conley. We're helping you out. because you have to trade these guys either way. So we're taking on the Conley deal. We'll take, Bogdanovich off your hands. You're not going to be able to move guys like Conley and Jordan Clarkson without giving up something. You can't do a 1-for-1 player swap because then you got to trade that guy. So like you're limited in what you're going to get. Yes, it's Westbrook first, but we could just keep him if we need to. And, give up a pick, give up 2, whatever. If you can get Vanderbilt, like if the deal, which is something I've talked about in the past, if the deal is Vanderbilt, Beasley, Conley, and Bogdanovich, I would give up both firsts. I think that's the best deal the Lakers could get, and I think that helps them now and the future. And very likely, those picks you're hoping are guys like Vanderbilt and Beasley, right? Like young guys that can contribute immediately, that could be really good now and for the future, that still have upside and potential, things like that. That's what you want. That's what you're hoping for with those picks, unless they're just lottery picks. But you're hoping that that's not the case, that the Lakers are in, 5 years from now. You're hoping the Lakers are at least in a position where they're really good, and then those picks are just, at best case, a rotation guy. Well, you're already getting that. And, the big concern would be, obviously, if you give up both firsts, which the Lakers have been adamant about not doing, if you give up both firsts, then you can't move off of Conley if Kyrie wants to come. But there's no guarantee that happens. No guarantee. But again, I don't think the Jazz are going to budge on Vanderbilt, which maybe that means the Lakers get to keep, a first. I really think Beasley's obtainable. And based on the reports, Beasley was included in the deal. Beasley was part of the talks. Again, it was Conley, Beasley, and Bogdanovich. Like, I think that's a solid return. If you can get those three, Beasley, Bogdanovich, and Mike Conley for 1 first, Russell Westbrook, and let's say a couple seconds or whatever but you can keep 1 first, I would do that deal. Like, I mean, the Lakers and the Jazz have time. They don't need to rush. So they can fight a little bit on the Vanderbilt thing. They can kind of go back and forth on the Vanderbilt thing. Like, that's not the end of the world. But I think if you're the Lakers and it's like Vanderbilt or bust, or like say the Jazz are about to trade Bogdanovich, and and it's like this entire deal is gonna fall through, I think you just take Conley, Beasley, and Bogdanovich and keep one of those first. Keep one of those first. Here's Westbrook. Here's a first round pick. We're helping you unload guys you have to unload one way or another. Yeah, Beasley could probably get you an asset, but who's taking Conley? So we're basically washing each other out here. And the difference is that you're saving salary, not just this season, but the following season, stuff like that. You're clearing your roster spots, all of that stuff. You're getting off your vets. It's just a one-time clean sweep. So I think Beasley is highly obtainable. I just think Vanderbilt, and look, if I'm the Jazz, if I'm being honest, if I'm the Jazz, I wouldn't trade Vanderbilt either. I wouldn't want to trade Vanderbilt either. As a Laker fan, you do whatever you can to go get Vanderbilt. And I'm glad the Lakers are at least trying. Because if they would have made a report that was like the Lakers got the deal done and they didn't even ask about Vanderbilt, I would have been upset, even if they got the deal done. Because I'd be like, you at least ask. You at least push for that. You don't just let that sweep under the rug. You try to go get Vanderbilt. But I think ultimately, when this is all said and done, it's going to be Beasley, Conley, and Bogdanovich, or Beasley, Jordan Clarkson, and Bogdanovich. I guess the Lakers have expressed interest in both Jordan Clarkson or Mike Conley, and it's likely either or. So I do think, however, personally, I think Mike Conley is the better fit. I would rather have Mike Conley. And I know age and concern and injury and stuff like that, although last year he played 71 games, but still I understand the concern. Here's the thing. With the Lakers, he's not going to be asked to do as much as he was in Utah. He's likely coming off the bench, or if he does start, he's not going to play more than probably 20 minutes a game. So that load, the workload, and the time he's going to have to play is going to be far less than what it is. Solid three-point shooter, still a solid defender, smart player, not going to turn over the ball, not going to do anything stupid. I want Mike Conley. I really do. But, either way, however this shapes up, if the Lakers get a deal done, I'm all for it. If a deal is on the table that is good, I really think Rob Pelinka is going to take it. I don't think and it's not about the picks, because I see a lot of people that are like, why don't the Lakers just give up both picks? F them picks, this, that, and the other. it's not that the Lakers don't want to give up the picks. It's like, you're going to give up those picks for what? To be in the same position you're in? Okay, instead of us being a 9 seed, we're now a 6 seed. Like, okay, we're still like, does this really make us a contender? Like, and I'm high on this team. I even currently constructed. But, for being honest, are they a contender? I don't think so. But who knows? Chemistry, understanding of the roles, offensive scheme, defensive schemes, things like that can. But I'm just saying, before we don't know how good or bad this team's going to be either way. All we have to go off of is like, what is this shaping up to be? And I think that this team is a very good team, but I don't think that they're like, that's a team that's a contender. And I don't think even the Jazz deal, you look at that team and you go, yeah, that's the best team in the league. Like, I don't think that happens. And that's why the Lakers don't want to give up both first. They're willing to give up both first if it's for like a Kyrie, and that's the thing. Like, what happens if at the trade deadline, the Nets implode and, Lakers don't have assets. They don't have anything. Kyrie wants to come. Now the Lakers don't have a way to go get Kyrie. Nets are like, oh, we'll just let him walk, and he goes and signs elsewhere. Or say another star comes up, like, it's just, last thing you want to do is be terrible and have no assets or a way to get out. And that's what you don't want to do. And I know people are like, well, Conley expires in 2 years. Like, you really want to wait 2 years to be able to turn this ship around? By that point, it's too late. LeBron's gone. Davis is probably gone. Like, it's just, yeah, the Lakers, Rob Pelinka's doing great. Just standing pat, being patient, and working out a deal. I trust that if a deal is on the table and it's a good deal, he's going to take it. He's not going to let the Lakers get fleeced. He's not going to just make a trade just to make a trade, which is good. That's not what we want. We don't want a Luol Deng and Bogdanovic and Timothy Mozgov situation all over again, where we're stuck with guys for several years and we have no way of getting off of them. Like, that's not what we want. But anyway, again, however you feel about it, love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.